Potentially malignant disorder classified into two types: pre-malignant lesions and pre-malignant condition. Pre-malignant lesions are leukoplakia, erythroplakia, proliferative verrucous leukoplakia, widened leukoplakia, candida leukoplakia, reverse smoking palate, verrucous hyperplasia, oral verrucous carcinoma, disc keratosis congenita, actinic cheilosis, keratoacanthoma, and oral submucous fibrosis. These are the pre-malignant lesions. Pre-malignant conditions are lichen planus, discoid lupus erythematosus, epidermolysis bullosa, verruciform xanthoma, graft versus host disease, cheilitis glandularis, Geroderma pigmentosum, syphilis, Plummer-Vinson syndrome, malnutrition, vitamin A, B, C deficiency, and immunosuppressive disease like AIDS. These are the potentially malignant disorder. Out of these, four are common, like erythroplakia, leukoplakia, lichen planus, and smokeless tobacco keratosis. These four are common disorder. We will discuss these four disorder now. Oral lichen planus is relatively common chronic inflammatory disease of oral mucosa affecting approximately 2% of adult population. Although the etiology of oral lichen planus is uncertain, evidence point towards T-cell mediated autoimmune process, cytotoxic CD8 lymphocyte infiltration below the basement membrane, and trigger apoptosis in oral mucosal cells. Oral lichen planus develops most commonly in adult over age 40 and more common in women than the men. Oral lesions most commonly develop on the buccal mucosa, tongue, gingiva, and lip. May be either asymptomatic or may be painful. There are mainly two type of lichen planus. First is reticular form, which is asymptomatic lacy white lesion of the buccal mucosa. They are most common. Second common is erosive form of lichen planus, which is erythema and ulceration. They may be painful. There are no cure of this oral lichen planus. Goal of therapy is to improve the symptom and monitor the cancer development. Mild to moderate disease are treated with topical steroid, whereas severe cases may require systemic steroid. Other topical agents can be given like tacrolimus and retinoic acid. Second lesion is smokeless tobacco keratosis, or you can say snuff differs pouch. Smokeless tobacco, either fine snuff or coarser chewing tobacco, has the tendency to cause mucosal damage and keratosis at the site of its placement, usually within the mucobuccal folds of mandible. Early lesions appear as poorly demarcated grayish-white edematous mucosa with surface wrinkles. These lesions represent a reactive response to chemical and physical irritants of smokeless tobacco and are responsible if the patient discontinues the habit. Biopsying these lesions is not recommended. Long-standing smokeless tobacco lesions appear as demarcated area of white plaque and are caused by carcinogenic effect of the tobacco. These white plaques are not reversible and need to be biopsied to rule out dysplasia. In general, malignant transformation risk of smokeless tobacco keratosis is significantly lower than the smoking related leukoplakias. So leukoplakia having more risk of malignant transformation than the smokeless tobacco keratosis. Third lesion is oral submucous fibrosis. Oral submucous fibrosis is a pre-malignant condition that is more prevalent among the South Asian population with the highest incidence in Indian subcontinent. Oral submucous fibrosis is a chronic progressive condition characterized by diffuse mucosal rigidity due to dense fibrosis within the lamina propria and might extend into underlying skeletal muscle. It is caused by chewing beetle containing areca nut. The extent and severity of this disorder is dependent on the amount of areca nut, duration, and frequency of the habit. Oral submucous fibrosis frequently involves the buccal mucosa, tongue, and soft palate. The affected mucosal surface appear pale, blanching marble-like with focal area of atrophy in erythema. Patient commonly present with trismus, burning sensation and xerostomia. Difficulty in speech, mastication and swallowing are experienced in advanced stage. The incidence of malignant transformation of this condition is about 8 to 12% over the period of 10 to 15 years. Fourth common lesion are leukoplakia, erythroplakia, and erythroleukoplakia. Are purely descriptive terms describing the coloration of oral lesion. However, clinical experience and studies has demonstrated an increased rate of cancer development in patients with erythroplakia, then erythroleukoplakia, then leukoplakia. It means highest incidence found in erythroplakia, then erythroleukoplakia and leukoplakia. The clinical consideration in treating oral leukoplakia patient is managing their risk for oral cancer development, which varies in reported series about 1 to 35% depending upon the geographic, racial and socio-economic composition of group under investigation and duration of observation period. All these lesions require histological evaluation. Histological grading of dysplasia is the gold standard for diagnosis and risk prediction. Roughly 30 to 40% of lesions with severe dysplasia or carcinoma in situ will progress in the carcinoma, while the most lesions with hyperplasia or mild to moderate dysplasia do not progress into malignancy. The best validated biomarker of oral cancer risk of these lesions, there is presence of loss of heterozygosity at specific chromosomal loci. There is no clinical available laboratory test that can use to determine this LOH, loss of heterozygosity by any mean, in leukoplakia or erythroplakia or any oral lesion. So till then, the experience of the surgeon determine the diagnosis of development of cancer in these lesions. Clinical management options of patient with oral leukoplakia or this oral premalignant disorder consist of observation and reduction of cancer risk factor such as tobacco and alcohol use, surgical resection, laser ablation, photodynamic therapy, and chemoprevention on clinical research is important aspect to deal these type of lesion. In dealing with oral premalignant lesion or oral premalignant disorder patient, major consideration should be minimize the risk of oral cancer development and limit treatment associated morbidity. So main treatment is prevention of oral cancer development.